And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We're recording now and live till 5, and then we'll post it up on YouTube, so you can come by later and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, and that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. We're currently featuring about 800 or so Qso-Vlog Airchecks at this time. Also, this afternoon, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring in Rochester, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Arlington, Virginia, and Milford, Pennsylvania, trying to get a better copy on our 100-watt friends. Now, the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 2 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south, the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary selector. Position 3 on this selector is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. We do use a lot of rotary selectors in our shack, mainly because there's nothing faster than a rotary switch for comparing multiple signals. Well, those are our working conditions. How about yours? This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And now let's check in and see if Charlie K1GZL is on the frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up in the northern New Hampshire area near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, Jim, I certainly do. You're 20 over 9, and you're coming in direct, as I don't have a computer or an SDR situation. But beautiful copy, Jim. Go ahead.
Roger, Charlie. Well, I'm copying you about 15 over on my twin mag loop antennas, so we have good propagation today, Roger.
Roger, and I'll just show you how well your propagation is here. Here it is.
Selector is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves.
Okay, and just give you an idea, you're just coming in beautifully. One thing I would like to try, Jim, that I don't think anyone else has tried that I know of. Now, back in 1951, I was operator at W1AW down, of course, the ARRL headquarters station, and that's, of course, in Newington, Connecticut, just southwest of Hartford. However, in those days, everything in their mind was CW. Everything was CW. And, in fact, 40-meter, there was no 40-meter phone. It was CW. So they were telling me all the time when I was there during most of the summer of 1951 that CW certainly has a lot more output, voice, much more output than voice. Now, I want to try something. If you'll watch your S meter very carefully, I want to try to see if a voice CW can be better than just regular voice. Now, let us assume that we didn't have a key or we did not have a bug, and we were going to use strictly voice CW. Now, what I'm going to do is send your call KC9VKV VE, like Denmark Echo, and then my call K1GZL, then the letter K. And I'm going to do it by voice. So watch your meter and you see if if the CW by voice is better than by phone. Okay, here we go. How was that, Jim? KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Well, Charlie, I'm running a reduced RF front end to keep the receiver out of AGC. But I am monitoring the audio on a VU meter. And, of course, your dits and das were at the exact same level as your zero level on your voice. Unfortunately, though, I can't give you really an accurate S-meter reading or even a reference to S-meter because of the reduced signal strength. Roger?
Okay, well, it was just a trial to see, well, you might find out if you think it sounded louder than the regular voice peak. By the way, yes, getting back to meteorology, to weather, yesterday and last night, up till early morning, we picked up 5 inches new of snow. Today, we are missing a small Alberta Clipper snow, which is passing south of us. The sun was breaking through the clouds about 3:15, but I don't see the sun at the moment. However, there's a cold front coming through, and that's going to itself probably produce another inch or so. But then again, Monday and Tuesday, I'm expecting rain, occasional rain, and a lot of melting will take place. Temperatures skyrocketing way up to about 40 degrees or low 40s, and then on Wednesday the bottom drops out again. So there we are, and you're coming in like you're sitting right next to me. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Roger, Charlie. Well, you're still giving me about a 15 dB over my noise level. So, I have found that that equates somewhat near S-meter reading, 15 over my residual noise level. Because when you cease speaking, I have your voice calibrated for zero level on my VU meter, and when you cease speaking, my meter drops down and is reading the ambient noise level, which is about 15 dB below zero levels for your voice. So, we really have excellent conditions today. I'm glad to see that you finally got rid of all your icing situation, Roger.
Yeah, we got rid of the ice. That was pretty, that was a bad situation. There's still just a trace of it on some of the antennas, but it was so bad a number of days ago that 95% of my power was rejected, and I was 85% of my nothing, checked out practically nothing, down into Australia there, Jim. So that was nasty, I'll tell you. That was nasty. And right now, the trees are still full of snow, though. Full of snow. It's a picture postcard, just like you'd see in a Norman Rockwell painting of what Christmas and winter should be. Jim, go ahead.
Roger, Roger, Charlie. Well, just as you were speaking, I went through my 4 SDRs: Rochester, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Arlington, Virginia, and Milford, VA. And my own local co-phased 10-foot vertical loops were the hottest by at least 5 dB over those other SDRs. So that's encouraging, Roger.
Oh yeah, you did a great job. You did a great job on your loops there, your phase loops. That is a wonderful thing, Jim, you've got there. Of course, we are into our shortest days now, and our sunset up here Eastern Time is about 4:02.
Frequencies in use, please.
We are right at the actual earliest it's going to set, 4:02 in the afternoon up here in northern New Hampshire. Okay, Jim, I won't hold it any longer. I'll hope to catch you on next week. And I want to thank you very, very much for letting me run that voice CW test. I just thought of that the other day, and I just wondered if that would work. So I'll turn it back to you, and we'll try to catch you next week. KC9VKV, K1GZ, and an L.
WA30QRP.
Stand by, please. Charlie, right, but a better test would have been if you had shifted 1 kc off frequency and then keyed your, in CW mode, keyed your radio, and then we would have a 1 kc operating frequency heterodyne, Roger?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll go down to 88, and you want me to do it again? I'll go down to 87. Roger?
Roger, would that, I guess that would be 1 kc down. Go ahead and just give me a CW for about a second or 2 seconds real quick. Or go ahead and send them, let's verify that we've got a hookup there. Go down and do that for about a couple of seconds, and let me see if I get a 1 kc heterodyne.
Okay, here we go. Let me get down there.
Roger. I was thinking of actual keying of the radio in the CW mode, and that would be probably a louder heterodyne than just a sideband modulated signal, because that would be that wouldn't be sideband. CW would be all the way across, so it wouldn't be restricted to half the bandpass. Roger.
Okay, well, the problem is I don't have a key. I haven't operated CW in years.
Oh, Roger, I was just thinking of tapping on the mic key, just as a test. It wouldn't be the best fist in the world, but it would be a somewhat interesting test.
Well, it was interesting. It seems to be hitting my rig a little better, but then again, this is just an experiment, and like I've tried a lot of experimental antennas, and they were flops. They were horrible. And I've had other ones up there I thought were a piece of junk and worked better. So it's cut and try, and that's part of the hobby. Sometimes you gain a lot of things just by experimentation. Well, Jim, thank you so much. There goes my voice. Thank you so much, and I'm going to try to catch you next Friday at the usual time. KC9VKV, K1GZL. This was great today.
Roger, Charlie 3's that way, sir, and thanks for dropping by and getting us going on our Qso-Vlog network. Always a pleasure. Charlie's up there by the Canadian border, I think about 3 or 4 miles from A, and he can judge real well about what's happening with the band, and so he keeps us informed. Well, anyway, this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network in full force. If you have a radio that you want to check out, give us a shot. This is KC9VKV listening.
Whiskey 3, Whiskey Delta Romeo.
Whiskey 3. Let me get a fin here. Whiskey 3, and give me the rest.
Whiskey Delta Romeo.
Roger. What's the name, please?
The name is Bill.
Roger, Bill. Well, welcome in. Whereabouts are you, sir?
Okay, we're in Deal, Maryland, near Washington, D.C.
Roger, Bill. What radio are you running, sir?
Okay, we got an ICOM 7300, and I've set it according to, past videos that you've had. How am I sounding?
Well, pretty good there, sir. I just wonder, there seemed to be a little latency between when I ask a question and you come back. I'm wondering, am I running through an interpretation somehow, or? Hello, Bill.
Okay, there's about a 3 or 4 second latency on the, I'm listening on the SDR as well.
Roger. Well, now tell me, sir, why are you monitoring an SDR? If you can't hear me, we've got real problems. Check your radio direct. you should not be needing to run through an SDR, Roger.
Well, I can't receive you on my regular antenna. It's an in-fed antenna, basically.
Well, my goodness gracious. You're in Maryland. Sir, we're doing 20 over up in Canada and 20 over down in Miami. I'm just curious about your problem with reception. Roger, Roger.
Well, I don't read you at all here. In fact, it's been like that the past couple of weeks. I've been monitoring your frequency.
Yeah, and what frequency is that, sir? Just out of curiosity. I mean, you could be on the wrong frequency. What frequency are you monitoring locally on your radio? .188. Lower sideband, Roger. Well, listen, Bill, it's been interesting. I'm sorry that you can't copy. Maybe we'll try it next week or so when conditions might get better. I just can't imagine why you wouldn't be able to copy me. Like I say, we're 20 over from Montreal to Miami, but whatever. So maybe give me a shout when conditions get better in your neck of the woods. This is KC9VKV. And the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you got a radio you want to check out, we are recording now live till 5. Give me a shout.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Kilo Delta 7, Quebec Oscar Tango, Philip here in western Pennsylvania.
Roger, Philip, and I'm copying you on the Atlanta SDR. Come back and give me about 10 or 15 seconds on your antenna situation, your antenna system, and let me see if I can find just a better copy. Roger?
Copy, Roger. 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 Here is Philip on 6. I have an AH4 auto tuner with wire going out the second story of my house, and that's across the street from the tree. It's 144 feet long, and that's my setup. It's worked around the world before, so it's probably just conditions if I'm not being heard very well. This is Kilo Delta 7, Quebec Oscar Tango.
I'm copying you 5 dB above the Atlanta noise level, sir. And how are you copying me?
Oh, you're a good 20 over. About upper 5 band, or lower 5 band. Or lower 5 band. You're sounding great on lower 5 band.
Roger, it's the best place to be for the frequency anyway. Gosh, I could give you some information about tune-up of that. You say you're running a 7300?
The tune-up of that, you say you're running a 7300? ICOM 706. 706.
Oh, 706. All right. What we usually recommend is that you engage your compressor at about a 3. Get your compressor going, but only at about a 3. Roger, Roger?
Compressor going, but only at about a 3. Roger, Roger? Yeah, I'm not sure if I can actually change my compressor. It's either on or off. I can turn it off if you want me to try that.
No, sir, you do not have any injection control over the degree that compression might give you?
Control over the degree that compression might give you? No, I don't believe so. I don't think so. Not on this model. I'm pretty sure this radio is from the 1980s.
Roger. Well, I would be surprised if it did not have some kind of injection level control, but it sounds all right. Does it have a ALC meter?
ALC meter? It does have an ALC meter. I'd have to figure out how to switch over to it.
Roger, Roger. Well, you know, there are just a couple of things that we need to, in order to get the radio operating at El Primo levels. One of those is the ALC. So I'll tell you what, why don't you maybe look at your book a little bit and try later when you have more information as to whether you have any control over the compression level, and also exactly how to get to your ALC, and also what your mic gain control might be, because you'll need that to adjust the level on your ALC meter when you find it.
To adjust the level on your ALC meter when you find it. Okay, definitely. I appreciate that, and I missed your call sign.
Call sign here is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Name is Jim Juliet India Mike. This is the Qso-Vlog network, and we go live till 5, recording all the way, and then we post it up on YouTube. If you wanted to check out your audio as it stands, you could go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that would take you to our Qso-Vlog page. Right now we're running about 840 some odd Qsos in Aircheck form, and you would be looking for one entitled My Group Aircheck 12619. My Group Aircheck 12619. Roger?
Aircheck 12619. Roger? All right, thank you very much, Jim. KC9VKV, KD7QOT. I'm going to go ahead and step aside. If I find that stuff, I'll come back. 7-3.
Roger, Roger, Philip. And take notes and write yourself a cheat sheet. Slippery words there. Cheat sheet that will tell you how to get to those things so you don't have to look them up each time. Like ALC, how to get to your ALC meter, how to get to your mic gain control, how to get to your compressor, and if the compressor does have an insertion control, you know, all those things, and how to get to them on a very abbreviated notepad, so you don't have to read the whole book to get the answers to your questions. Roger?
Get the answers to your questions, Roger. Roger. Yeah, I found the ALC meter, and it's just a matter of like clicking through and finding the things. Anyway, I'll let somebody else jump in here. KD7QOT.
Roger. Well, gosh, Philip, that's 90% of the battle there, the ALC. Do you know where your mic gain control is?
90% of the battle there, the ALC. Do you know where your mic gain control is? Yeah, I just have to get into the correct display.
All right, so you'll need your ALC meter up and your other hand on your mic gain control. And so then, and looking at your ALC meter, speak in a natural tone of voice, not your radio voice, but a natural, you know, just your natural voice, and adjust the ALC meter to where it reads mid-scale to 2/3. The sweet spot is halfway between mid-scale to 2/3, but your average setting should be mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Setting should be mid-scale to 2/3. Roger? Roger, Roger. So, right now I have from 0 to 10. My gain is on 9, and I'm saying about 50 to 60% of the meter. I think you said 2/3, so my understanding is that what you're saying is that which I just bumped the maximum I have for adjustment here. Over.
Philip, you have a disparaging situation with your mic gain control. I think you might be getting a little RF in your AF when you were adjusting it, because it was kind of spitting at me, kind of like like that as you adjusted it. I'm not sure exactly why that might be, but if you have found your range of mid-scale to 2/3, go ahead and do not touch your mic level control, and just come back and talk to me and see if that is indeed the level that you have, Roger.
And see if that is indeed the level that you have, Roger. Okay, well, should be the scale all the way
Most interesting. Philip, sounds like your radio is very mad at you. It sounds like a mallard duck. It's very mad. I suggest this. I think you might be in need of a little better ground system, or at least a better ground system from your mic to your the chassis of your radio. So you might try to get rid of some of that. It sounds like RF getting back into the AF, Roger.
It sounds like RF getting back into the AF, Roger.
So, Philip, this sounds serious, buddy. I think you might want to go to another frequency and work on it for a minute or so, and see if you can resolve the mad hen situation. And then we'll try this whole thing later after you get a handle on your RF in the AF, Roger.
Handle on your RF in the AF, Roger.
This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network, and we do a tune-up, setup, and roll over backwards sometimes, but mainly we are recording between now and 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. KC9VKV.
Check out the audio, give us a shout. KC9VKV.
I was copying somebody on the Rochester SDR, but there was a lot of QRM with the signal. Whoever it is, try your call sign again, please.
The signal, whoever it is, try your call sign again, please.
No, sorry, you're in my noise, so we'll have to pass for now. Maybe conditions might change after a while, and if that is the case, and I come up to you, then give us another shout. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program. If you have a radio, you want to record the audio and check it on YouTube, give us a shout. KC9VKV.
November Delta 1 Charlie.
November Delta 1 Charlie. Go ahead, sir. What's the name?
Roger. Name here's Jim, Julian India Mike. I'm near Daytona Beach, Florida.
Roger, Jim in Daytona Beach, Florida, sir. What radio are you running?
I'm running a ICOM 7610 with a Hio 781 microphone, and I'm on a off-center fed dipole at the moment.
Roger, Jim. Just the guy I want to see is somebody with a 7610. Are you ready to get that radio rocking and rolling audio-wise?
Roger. I've got a UR6 QW equalizer, and I've got a tube preamp in line with it.
Okay, well, you know, all of that stuff is unnecessary. I hate to tell you, but the 7610 is quite capable of taking your head off by itself. It really doesn't need all that other stuff. Is there a way that you can bypass that external stuff?
Oh, yeah, I can do that really easy.
All right, go ahead and bypass everything. Let me just have that microphone direct. And we need to move along because conditions may not last long. The station, stand by. I'm in Qso with Jim down in Florida.
All right, I'm back. I went over onto the headset. Nothing. It's just going into the radio.
All right, sir. Now let's rock and roll. First thing, engage your compressor at a 3. Engage your compressor at a 3. Roger.
All right, there it is.
All right, now go to your ALC, and with mic gain in hand, adjust your ALC where it reads mid-scale to 2/3. Roger.
All right, where is the ALC adjustment?
The microphone gain control.
Oh, all right, yeah. Mic gain's up 41 right now.
Not interested in where it is, only as it relates to the ALC. You want to adjust the mic gain till the ALC meter's reading mid-scale to 2/3.
All right, so I got a ways to go. Let's see. All right, I'm all the way up on the mic gain. That's about as much as she's going to go up.
Okay, and what's your ALC meter reading?
About 3 bars into the red there.
No, you don't want to be in the red. Pull it down. You do not want to be in the red. You want to be mid-scale to 2/3, not in the red. Roger?
All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. That's very at the top of the line where it goes to the red, but not into the red.
All right. Let's. Do you know where the peak button is? You have a peak button on the left side of your radio.
A peak button? I don't see that.
Let's see. Peak. Was it peak or is it quick? I'm sorry. It's a quick button. Do you know where that is?
Okay, you talking about on the AGC?
It's a button labeled quick. It takes you to drive.
There's a drive in the menu I've seen before.
And
trying to see where I get to that at.
There's a button on your radio called quick. It's a push button. Left-hand side of your radio, side of your radio. You're running a 7610, Roger.
Okay, drive gain, hit that. Okay, it's at 50%.
All right, take that drive gain up to 65%.
65% right there.
All right, now double check your ALC to your compressor to be sure you're at a 3 out of 10. What we're looking for is about a third of the capabilities of your compressor. A 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Should be right about there.
Okay, you're not as fat as what you should be. Give me 10 seconds or 15 about. Tell me about your antenna system.
All right, I've got 2 up there right now. I've got an off-center fed dipole for 80 meters that covers 6 bands, and I've got a 40-meter delta loop, which I'm on right now. It's oriented vertically.
Okay, what kind of mic are you running?
I'm on a radio sport headset.
Okay, do you know where EQ is? Tone control?
Yes, sir. It's in the menu.
Correct. Can you go there? Tone control? We're looking for, a little bit more. You need a little bit more on the bottom end. You're pretty mid-rangey with that headset mic, Roger.
Okay, I was -2, and now I'm +2.
On bass EQ?
Roger.
All right, now tell me about that 7610, the best thing you like about the 7610. I'll tell you what, you've got a watt meter, Roger?
Roger, roger.
All right, put that watt meter in PEP.
Okay. Let's scroll through my menu here, and I've got power output. Okay. Which is, it's getting pulled back because the amplifier is controlling the radio.
Repeat that?
The amplifier is an expert 1.5, and it controls the ALC and the radio. So it's actually, even though they tell you to keep the radio at 100%, it's showing that it's only peaking about 25 watts right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything, sir, but very few people run the ALC back from their power amp. Very, very few. I'm not telling you not to, but very few people do, Roger.
Roger. When I ran the tubes, I didn't run it, but when I was talking to the guy who does these amps down in Texas, he was like, you have no warranty if you don't run that, and it's all computer-driven. So every time it picks up a fault, it records it in the amplifier.
On what?
It's an Expert 1.5, so it's all computerized.
And it actually records your RF input to it on a chip, on a dip, or what?
It's got, whenever it hits a fault, whether you hit an SWR fault or you overdrive it because you weren't running the ALC, it records the fault in the amplifier.
Roger. Okay. Well, I guess we're pretty much done here. You know, the main thing is that you run your compressor at about a 3, and then you adjust your ALC to mid-scale to 2/3. I think your mic EQ will suffice. I would prefer a little more top end EQ on that mic, and maybe just 1 or 2 clicks more on the bottom end to try to get rid of the mid-rangey aspects of that boom mic.
Okay, I'll add a little bit to that. Let's see. Give me a sec. All right, there's a little bit more top end. Is that any better?
Yes, sir. You know, what I'm talking about top end is the S's. That is articulation there, and you know, that is very necessary to become as articulated as you can, because when you get down in somebody else's noise level, the only thing that's going to help you is the brightness of your audio that will be competing against the noise. And if you don't have much articulation, then you get lost really quick when the noise comes up around your neck. Roger?
Oh, Roger. Yeah, I can relate to that. That's the old trick where you can get a high noise environment and you narrow the transmitter band a little bit and get more articulation. It's not as pleasant to listen to, but it punches through.
Roger that. Now, and the other thing about the watt meter, do you have an actual watt meter on the output of your power amp?
Oh, yes. It's reading right now. It's driving about 1,400.
Okay, sir. And you know where the sweet spot is on that watt meter, Roger?
Roger.
All right, well, then put it in PEP as opposed to RMS. Put it in P&P so it moves fairly quickly, and be looking at that as you speak. And the idea is that we have the capabilities within our own voice to control our level to some degree. So as you look at your watt meter in the PEP mode and you're talking, try to keep that meter in the sweet spot of the movement, Roger, on the sweet spot of that meter.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of on the lazy side right now, but it's in PEP, and it's dancing around between 1.3 and 1.4.
Roger. Well, you know, you will be educating yourself. The more you use that, the more you watch that meter and relate that meter to your speech level, you will become much more conscious of when your voice drops off level-wise or you move back off microphone. You'll be much more cognizant of those situations, Roger.
Oh, definitely. It's funny, too, where your settings are at. Like, if I'm... everybody will tell me, oh, it sounds great, go to 80 meters, and then you got to redial everything. And I don't understand why. Just a different band change would require different settings on that.
Oh, roger that. Well, I think we're about done here, man. Why don't you, if you get a chance, check back in next Friday and let me know how the experience of watching your watt meter as you speak works out, Roger.
Okay, yeah, it also shows up on my computer screen. Everything from the amplifier goes, not just on the screen on the amp, but it goes onto the computer, so I watch it all the time.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for checking in, man. And give me your call sign one more time.
November Delta 1 Charlie.
And the name is Jim. Is that a Roger?
Yes, sir.
All right, Jim, we have been recording since 5, and all of our conversation has been recorded, and we will be posting this up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So if you want to hear your audio and hear us as we work through the different modifications to your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. Right now we're running about 840 Qso air checks. You'll be looking for one specifically, usually on page 1. It's entitled My Groove Aircheck 12/6/19, today's date. My Groove Aircheck 12/6/19 on the YouTube search for KC9VKV. Roger?
Okay, got it. Got it wrote down here. I'm a big YouTube fan. I'm always on there. So anyway, thanks a lot. 7 degrees, and I'll let you get back to the rest of them there. November Delta 1 Charlotte.
Roger, Roger, Jim. 3's that way, sir. Have a great time down in Florida. I eat my heart out up here in the rain and oh well. Anyway, I like seasons. I keep reminding myself I like seasons. I like seasons. I like seasons. Don't tell me about the sand gnats and the no-see-ums down in Florida. I like the seasons. But I do like Florida. Well, anyway, this is KC9VKV, the Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Give me a shot.
Copying somebody on the Atlanta SDR. Whoever it is down around Atlanta, give me a reprise on the call sign. Well, whoever it was, I heard you on the Atlanta SDR. You may be somewhere else, though. The loud station, give me a shout. Give me your call sign. Okay, and I heard about 5 stations. I don't know. The loudest one, try again, and I'm going to zoom around on my SDRs and see if I can make a difference here.
Mike, November, India. Victor, Peter, 2, Mike, November, India.
Mike, November, India? No, wait, there's got to be more than that. Give me the whole call sign again, sir.
There's got to be more than that. Give me the whole call sign again, sir.
Okay, it's Victor Papa 2, Mike, November, India. Victor Papa 2, Mike, November, India.
Victor Papa 2, what's your location, sir?
Victor Papa 2, what's your location, sir?
I'm in the Caribbean. I'm down in Montserrat.
Montserrat. I'm copying you at about 15 over on the Arlington SDR receiver, Roger.
The Arlington SDR receiver, Roger.
Okay, I got a good copy on you as well. Just wanted to let you know, I'm hearing you, and beautiful audio and beautiful signal down in the Caribbean. I'm on, the name here is Frank. The name is Frankie, and I'm down on an itty-bitty island, a very small island in the Caribbean. It's Montserrat. It's the little island of the volcano, Roger.
Oh, Roger. Well, beautiful signal there. Looks like about 10 to 12 dB over the Arlington, Virginia SDR noise level, Roger.
Virginia SDR noise level, Roger.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, I jumped in there. Seen that down the station you heard and didn't come back. You heard and didn't come back to you. Thought I get this time. 7-3. Can talk to you another time. 7-3 from Montserrat, Roger.
Roger, Frank. Is it Frank or Frankie?
Roger, Frank. Is it Frank or Frankie?
K-I-E, Frankie. By now I should drop the I-E, but and just use Frank. We keep the K-I-E, Frankie. It's Frankie down in Montserrat, Roger.
Roger, Frankie down in Montserrat. We are recording now, sir, and we have been. If you would like to hear your radio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll be looking for a Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 12/6/19, which is today's date. My Group Aircheck 12/6/19 on a YouTube search for KC9VKV. And we'll get that up to YouTube in the next couple of days, Roger.
YouTube in the next couple of days, Roger.
Roger, no problem. All right, you keep up the good work. Beautiful audio and great signal. I see you 5'9" and a little bit over into the Caribbean. Take care, my friend, and I'll be monitoring. I'll be listening. See you later, 7-3. Bye-bye.
Roger. Now, we may have to add Montserrat to our our mantra. We have, as we were building the station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami and New York to New Mexico. Now we're going to have to put Montserrat in there, Roger.
Now we're going to have to put Montserrat in there, Roger.
Yeah, you got to put the Caribbean in there. And one of the islands is Montserrat. Okay, then, stay here, man. Check out your webpage. Check out your QRZ, not your QRZ page, your YouTube page, and see what goes. See you later, and happy DXing for the rest of the evening. Have a good weekend, and Merry Christmas when it comes around. Bye-bye.
Roger. Well, let's see here. We have the unknown tuner. Sir, this is an active frequency. Please do not tune up on an active frequency. It's very discourteous. But also, sometimes, well, when I come face to face with mental illness, I feel led to prayer. So this is my prayer for the mentally ill. O Lord, I confess that I have judged those who struggle with mental illness. I have judged because I do not understand. Forgive me for making assumptions. Forgive me for my indifference. O Lord, please hear my prayer. Comfort and relieve those who are troubled in mind and spirit. Bring them hope, peace, and the consolation of a loving community. Grant patience and courage to the families and friends of those who are mentally ill. Increase their abilities to cope as they face the challenges of recovery. O Lord, protect and defend those living with mental illness. We seek your presence in their lives. Show them how to have a greater respect for their fellow man, and increase our ability to communicate with the mentally ill. This is KC9VKV and my prayer for the mentally ill. And this is KC9VKV Friday Afternoon Qso-Vlog Network. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Network, if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
There's a Delta Gulf station out there. This is KC9VKV, Delta Gulf station. Come back with your call sign again, slowly, phonetically. Whoa, boy. Try that again, sir. This is KC9VKV, station calling. Try it again.
Whiskey 5, Golf Oscar.
Whiskey 5, Golf Oscar. Sir, I've got just a little bit of a handle on you. If you could give me about 10 seconds about your antenna system, I'll see if I can find a better copy on you, Roger.
Okay, the antenna.
Roger.
Strung between the trees here, and we're about 20-25 feet with the wire up in the air on the city lot. So that hopefully that maybe if you're running the beam and point it towards Dallas, Texas, 5 GG.
Roger. I did not find a better SDR, but I've got you fairly well on my large 10-foot twin vertical mag loops running in the co-phase mode. Now, your audio, EQ-wise, tends to be pretty heavy in the bottom end. I would just wonder if you might want to equalize that just a little bit differently and shave a couple of points off the low frequency end of your audio. Yeah, Roger?
Okay, I think we just did that. That should give you a little more highs in there. This is W5GJO. The town we're located in is Wiley, Texas. Like I say, we're about 15 miles from the metro mess of Dallas. Did you get any more highs there at that time, over?
Yes, I did. We're coming along now. I would add 2 more to the top end. I would add plus 2 clicks to the top end, your treble EQ. Roger?
Okay, there's a couple of more on the high end. Well, actually, it's not. I'm not adding to the high end. I'm lowering the lower end there. Over.
Roger. Gosh, I think the low end was fine where it was. Do you have any more top end EQ left?
You want me to add to the top of the high end?
Yes, sir. That's what I said. We started off. I requested that you lower the baseline a couple of clicks, and then I requested that you increase the top end a couple of licks. And these are all related to where they were at the moment, in the beginning. Roger, you're adding to where you were. 2 clicks to the top, rolling 2 clicks from the bottom from where you were.
Okay. The only thing I'm dealing with now is the lower end of the frequency. I'm going to add a little more lows. More lows. I thought you wanted more highs, but you want more lows. Is that correct?
Negative, sir. The first thing I requested was that you roll 2 clicks off the bottom end. So that's what I was looking at, for you to roll 2 clicks off the bottom end, and then I requested that you increase 2 clicks, push 2 clicks on the top end. So from your original setting, you roll 2 clicks off the bottom and increase 2 clicks to the top on your treble.
Okay, well, let me ask you this now. I'm not changing anything at this point, so do you need... What just kind of make it simple? Do I need more bass or do I need more treble?
Well, I thought you might listen to me and let me direct you, but apparently we have a discommunication, sir. You know, sometimes that happens. So I'm not sure what we're going to do here. You know, I don't. You know, you need to run your radio the way you want to run it, sir.
No, I'm not being controversial here. Believe me, I'm not. You said high and low. I'm saying bass and treble. I think that's high, low, bass, treble. I think that's about the simple question was, do I need more treble or do I need more bass?
Okay, listen to me carefully. From where you are at the moment, roll 2 clicks off of the bass. Roll 2 clicks off of the bottom end. Roll 2 clicks off of the bass.
When you say 2 clicks off, you mean less bass. Is that correct?
Sir, I don't know how to say it any more succinctly. You need to delete 2 dB, 2 clicks, roll off on the bottom end.
Okay, I think I understand. Okay, right now I'm rolling 2 clicks off of the bass. Over.
Yes, sir. Now we go to the top end, and I want you to push 2 clicks boost on the top end. Roger? 2 clicks boost on the top end.
Okay, stand by. Let me go inside the radio. There's a little treble or boost, high end boost, and there's a little more. That's probably as much as I can boost on the high end. Over.
Okay, we're doing pretty well. Okay, so now engage your compressor at a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. We just want a third of the compression capabilities. Engage your compressor and just set it at a 3 out of 10 or a 30 out of 100. Roger?
Well, let me say this. My compressor
signal's starting to fade out. You say you were running your compressor at a 4?
The whole time we've been talking, I have been running my compression on the inside the 746 Pro at number 4.
Roger. So if you would put that on a 3, put your compressor on a 3. We don't want to hear that compressor working. We just want it to do the bare essentials of what it was designed to do. And you can do that if it's running a 3 out of 10 or a 30 out of 100 or you know, a third of its capabilities. Roger?
Okay, now we're running the third of the capabilities of this compression on the ICOM 746 Pro.
Okay, now go to your ALC meter, bring up your ALC meter, and with your hand on the mic gain control, adjust your ALC to where it's running mid-scale to 2/3. So you'll be speaking in your normal voice and working the microphone in a normal way with your hand on the mic gain control, and as you speak you will adjust the ALC meter to mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
The mic gain control on my I'm not running conventional equipment here. I cannot control my mic gain control on my radio. I have it bypassed. I'm running the audio gear into the back of the ICOM 746 Pro, but I can, as you said you want, I can increase my mic level to this amount right here on another piece of equipment other than the radio. Is that how's that sound? Over.
Sir, can you see your ALC meter? Can you actually see your, can you bring up your ALC meter?
Yes, the ALC meter is at 50%.
Okay, what we're looking for is an area between mid-range and 50%. I'm sorry, between mid-range and 3/4. If you can adjust your mic gain to where your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3, that would be perfect. The sweet spot is that area between mid-scale and 2/3. You know, that's the point we really want to hit. But average-wise, we can say mid-scale to 2/3. Roger? Okay, starting to lose conditions, but you might take notes on that mid-scale to 2/3 and work on that a little bit better. You don't want to go, you just want to speak and let the meter receive your audio and you know, represent your normal speech pattern, not, you know, not a tone or anything else, just the way you normally speak. Roger?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize for saying like that. I do apologize, and I know you're very qualified to set my equipment up here like I needed, but I do appreciate all you're doing for me there.
Roger. And so if you have a watt meter, I suggest that you use that watt meter like a VU meter. In other words, put your watt meter on a PEP instead of RMS. Put your watt meter on PEP, so it's kind of moving a little bit faster than normal. And you know where the sweet spot is. And as you speak, you want to see that meter move into the sweet spot. And so, you know, every time you speak, you're looking at that meter, trying to keep that meter in the sweet spot. Roger?
Well, I appreciate that suggestion there, and I'll definitely do that. Let the peak, that peak, I think I got the sweet spot right there.
Okay, so now let's tell me in about 10 seconds what you love best about your radio, and let's see where your audio level is.
not having to make payments on it. And I have two vehicles also. I don't have to make payments on them either, because they're paid for, and the house is paid for, and swimming pool is paid for. So we're living the good life here. And no, this is about a 15-year-old ICOM 746 radio, the only radio I own, and if it goes far home, I'll put it back to the shop there and get it fixed. Because I've had to do that 2 or 3 times. And we're going to deal with what we got: one radio, one amp, one antenna, and the whole 9 yards.
Roger that. Roger that. Well, I think we've about got it as best we can for the moment. Maybe if you get a chance, try checking in next Friday, and we'll compare notes and see what things have been working for you, Roger.
Yeah, okay. So let me ask this. I'm KC9VKV W5. So let me ask you, since we've been chatting here on what, 7188, so are you saying this is the best audio that you've heard from our station? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And what I suggest is that you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to my Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll be looking for an Aircheck entitled My Group Aircheck 12619. My Group Aircheck 12619 should be on page 1, and so you'll be in there, and so you'll be able to hear our conversation from the beginning to the end. Now, you know, we have had some ebb and flow in the propagation, but you know, I would prefer a better signal to work with you on, but we have to deal with what we got, Roger. Yes, sir. It's My Group Aircheck 12619. Today's date. My Group Aircheck 12619, which is today's date. Roger.
Okay. I got my group and the
Roger, Jim. I go again. My group, as in party, my party Aircheck, 12619. My group Aircheck, 12619. Roger. Just look for the date, 12619. The date is in the title, 12619. Today's date, Roger.
Okay, my group Aircheck party 12619.
Yeah, delete party. I was saying party in reference to trying to describe group because I thought you might have a difficulty in understanding group. But it's my group Aircheck 12619. Roger.
Yeah, okay. I guess I did get party and group mixed up there. I thought you said my party one time, then you said my group, and that's what kind of confused me. So my group Aircheck 12619.
Roger, Roger, Jim. About to fade out, buddy. I'll say threes for now, and like I say, you know, that's up on YouTube, and it'll be there in the next couple of days. I'll manage to get it up there in the next couple of days. Usually give ourselves 48 hours to get it loaded up to YouTube. Roger. And this is KC9VKV, and how we have the music players, more mental illness on the frequency. This is KC9VKV, and I continue to pray for the mentally ill. Oh Lord, please help us identify mental illness as the disease it is, and that we might have courage and wisdom in the face of ignorance and stigma. Inspire us as we seek enlightened treatment and services for the mentally ill. Lord, I know your gentle and kind-hearted love awaits those suffering from mental illness. It shields them in the dark and when the light feels too overwhelming. Please help us remember all those who continue to live in the depths of depression. O Lord, cherish them when they find it difficult to cherish themselves. Comfort those who live in the darkness and of depression. May we be a light in their darkness. This is KC9VKV, the Qso-Vlog network. If you have a radio, you want to check out the audio, give me a shout. KC9VKV. Oh, somebody's saying aloha? Do I have Hawaii on the line? I doubt that. Somebody just said Hawaii aloha. Who is that?
Who is that?
Well, I don't know. I thought there for a minute I had Hawaii. I always wanted to talk to Hawaii, but I doubt 40 meters today is going to be that. Anyway, this is KC9VKV. If you've got a radio you want to set up, tune up, or hear it, we are recording now live till 5, KC9VKV.
We are recording now live till 5, KC9VKV.
I've got Foxtrot something. You are right at my noise level, but try it again.
Foxtrot something. You are right at my noise level, but try it again.
Gosh, went around the band there, went through 4 SDRs and both of my 10-foot mag loops, and you were right at my noise level, so I don't guess we're going to be able to communicate right at the moment. Mother Nature has other plans. She does, and you know Mother Nature, she calls the shots. She is propagation personified. This is KC9VKV.
Propagation personified. This is KC9VKV.
Working on trying to revise one of my SDRs here, Milford, Pennsylvania. Now, Milford is a really nice SDR, although it's not letting me get there. Well, it's letting me get there, but the hard way. I have to go back through the Silk browser and run it up through my favorites. And there's Milford. Hello, Milford. Come on up there. Oh, I do not have a password for Milford, so I guess we're done. Oh, well, anyway, this is KC9VKV. If you've got a radio, you want to check out the audio. We are recording now, live till 5.
Live till 5.
Copying a little mail on the Arlington, Virginia SDR. Sir, try it again, please.
On the Arlington, Virginia SDR. Sir, try it again, please. Kilo Bravo number 6, Whiskey for Juliet Alpha.
Kilo Bravo 6, Whiskey, and what's the last?
Kilo Bravo 6, Whiskey, and what's the last? Japan, America. Whiskey, Japan, America.
Yes, sir. This is KC9VKV, and what's the name there, sir?
This is KC9VKV, and what's the name there, sir? The name is Chris. The location now is in Irmo, South Carolina. Living in an HOA, so I'm a little limited to what I can use for an antenna. I'm talking to you on a little Tar Heel HP antenna on a TS-850, and I'm feeding amplifier with my little AL811 600 watt test model. And that's the operating conditions on this end. The name here is Chris, Charlie Hotel Romeo India Sierra. But if you look me up in QRZ, you're still going to get my old address in Alcaloma, California. QSL?
Roger, Chris. Now, you know, HOA, there's a lot to be said for number 22 gauge wire, if you follow my drift.
22 gauge wire, if you follow my drift.
Yeah, I've never worked too much with thin gauge wire. What kind of amperage could it run? I also have, but not set up at the moment, a TL922A, and I was wondering if that could handle 1,000 watts.
Well, you know, there's nothing like experimenting. You know, what do you got to lose? If you're lucky, one of the HOA members will be underneath it when it falls.
The HOA members will be underneath it when it falls.
Oh, I just don't know if it'll snap the wire. That's a pretty thin gauge wire there. You know, because most wire antennas are usually about a 12 gauge, so I was just kind of curious of what kind of amperage that a 22 gauge wire could run. But that's not outside the thought of the process there. I could probably run it around my fence line. I live on about a half-acre lot. See what's up?
Oh, Roger, Roger. Well, if you have a fence, just run it along the top like electrified fence. You know, all these waves on 40 meters are coming by skywave. There's nothing moving by ground wave. So height is not really a critical situation. You could I worked a guy last winter that he had just restrung his dipole antenna. Unfortunately, that the rope that he chose was the favorite taste of the local rodent population. The squirrels just loved his rope and did proceed to eat his rope in two, and his antenna fell into the snow. He had 1 foot of snow, and I was talking to him through 1 foot of snow. He did have a good antenna tuner, though, Roger.
Foot of snow. He did have a good antenna tuner, though, Roger.
Yeah, I would say so. It would have to be a pretty healthy matchmaker there to go on and handle that there. But I didn't catch the name on your end there. I don't want to tie you up too much. I know you're doing recordings for folks there so they can hear their audio. I'm using a Shure 444D microphone to the TS-850 here. And from all reports I've had in the past, it seems to work okay for me. Go ahead.
Roger, EQ sounds pretty good. I would add just a click or two more top end. I don't think you can ever have enough articulation. You know, our good buddies on VHF and UHF radios just have the best of all the worlds because they do not have frequency response band conditions like 3KC that we do on HF. But we can hit the top end of our EQ pretty hard and try to get that articulation going. So when we are faced with somebody else's noise, you know, when we're in the noise to somebody else, at least they have a shot at understanding us if our audio is articulated. If it's Mr. Mumbles, when we get into heavy noise, they can't understand what we're saying. They can hear us, but they can't understand us. Roger?
They can hear us, but they can't understand us. Roger? K2OHK, please.
Roger, Roger.
Station, stand by, please. Let me wrap up here.
Station, stand by, please. Let me wrap up here.
Signals are not optimal tonight. Like I said, I'm a little bit handicapped here with just the little Tar Heel HP. It sits on an all-backwards tripod, so 2.5 feet off the ground. So that's operating conditions on this ground. So that's operating conditions on this end.
Roger, Roger. Well, I am copying you about 4 dB above the Arlington, Virginia noise level. You're about 3 dB or 4 dB above the Arlington, Virginia SDR noise level. Roger?
Virginia SDR noise level. Roger?
Roger, Roger. I'll take that. That's not bad. Okay, I'm buzzing out about 500 watts. I never pushed the amp too hard. I've had this little 811 since brand new there, and believe it or not, it's still operating on the original 3811A's pentatubes there, so I've been pretty good with my amplifiers and not pushing them too hard.
Roger, Roger, Jim. Well, like I say, your audio's fine. Your dynamic range looks to be about 3 dB. Not much that you need to do to your radio. Just try to get that antenna, as best that you can. Now, I have heard some folks that have actually fired up their the gutters on their on their roof, and also if you have plastic gutters or non-metal gutters, you can actually run your dipole inside the gutters. Roger.
And your dipole inside the gutters. Roger.
Roger. But I think we got a little too much rain out here in South Carolina for that. Okay, I'll let you go there. Somebody's been patiently trying to get in there and get to you there. I've heard them call a few times there, so I appreciate it very much. And I want to know where 9 might be located at. Like I said, I'm in Irmo, South Carolina, about 13 miles northwest of Columbia, South Carolina. So that's my actual location right now. But like I said, if you look it up on QRZ or ARRL, it's still going to show me at Alta Loma, Southern California there. So, all right, take care, and thank you for coming back to me here. KC9VKV, KB6WJA.
Roger, Roger, Jim. 3's that way, sir. And like I say, if you go to YouTube and do that call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo, Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and you'll be looking on page 1 for an entity called My Group Aircheck 12619. My Group Aircheck 12619, and we should be able to upload it within the next couple of days. Roger.
Within the next couple of days. Roger.
Roger. Boy, that on your last there came up 5.9 plus about 10 there. So band is shifting around there. Well, thank you very much, and you have a great evening over there. KB6WJA.
Roger, Roger, sir. 3's. And the other station that was trying to get in, this is KC9VKV. Come ahead.
Trying to get in, this is KC9VKV. Come ahead. Hotel Kilo.
Okay, you kind of came in too soon. I'm copying the mail on a SDR, so just try your call sign slowly again phonetically, please, sir.
Try your call sign slowly again phonetically, please, sir. Hotel Kilo. I say again, Kilo 2, Oscar, Hotel Kilo.
Yes, sir. And what's the name?
Yes, sir. What's the name? The name is Ed.
All right, Ed. And where are you located, sir?
All right, Ed. And where are you located, sir? I'm in Long Island, New York. About 50 miles east of New York City. The reason I called you is because I could not resist. I have a funny story for you about an antenna laying in the snow.
Yes, sir. Let me see. Let me run around and see if I can find a better copy on you. And if not, I'll come back to Arlington. Give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, and I'll look and see if I can find a better condition. Roger.
See if I can find a better condition. Roger. I don't want to tell you about my antenna system. I want something funny about an antenna laying in the snow, because you mentioned working a ham whose antenna had fallen into the snow. I don't understand what you mean when you say you want to try and copy me by going to Arlington. You have more than one receiver. Over.
I'm running 4 Internet SDR receivers. And I have a rotary selector switch for my audio input, where I have those 4 SDR receivers coming up, plus my local audio from my receiver. And they're all on a rotary 6-position rotary switch. So there's nothing faster than a rotary switch for comparing signals. I can compare those 5 signals in about a second, maybe a second and a quarter. Roger?
Maybe a second and a quarter. Roger. I wondered why you were slow coming back to each transmission. Now, are these receivers all in one location, or are these receivers at distant locations?
Well, that's why I call them Arlington, Virginia, Rochester, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, and Milford, Pennsylvania. You know, those are not arbitrary words. That's where those SDRs are located, Roger.
That's where those SDRs are located, Roger. And how do their signals reach your loudspeaker? By telephone line? By VHF? How do you do that?
They are internet SDR receivers, sir. You might check it out. Go to do you have a computer?
Do you have a computer? Yeah, I have a computer. I try not to use it. You are talking to the wrong guy when it comes to computers. I'm very reluctant to get involved with digital equipment. It's too bad that I've got some on my desk here that I can't fix. There's practically nothing left here anymore that I can work on myself. I've made an appliance operator out of it. Listen, I just wanted to give you a funny story. I thought you might appreciate because you mentioned it. Are you ready to copy?
Oh, I am rolling in record, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. I worked in a station many years ago whose antenna was laying in the snow. But his antenna was located in Antarctica. I'm an old ham, and in those days the mail used to go in and out of Antarctica by amateur radio. And amateurs could talk to the guys down there frequently. I had an antenna system that was very well suited to working in Antarctica. I had a 6-full wavelengths on 20 meters pointed right at Antarctica. And I used to work them all the time. At any rate, the guys at McMurdo had a V antenna, 500 feet on a leg, pointed north, because from there everything was north. And it was laying on the snow. But here comes the kicker. The snow was a mile above the ground.
Oh, Roger that. Well, you know, I don't know, but I would think that that much snow, detuning the antenna would not detune it much more than, say, 6 feet of snow. You know, I doubt that the mile deep snow would detune that antenna too much more than, say, 6 feet of snow. But that's only my thoughts, Roger. But that's an interesting story.
Well, the snow was a mile deep, so therefore the antenna was a mile in the air.
Oh, now I catch your drift. Roger, I see that now. But I guess it's all relative to your local, what do you call that? Your local height above sea level, because I'm sure that the well, I don't know, but that's interesting. If that mile of snow was actually helping him overcome his problems of propagation, Roger.
Well, they were particularly good years for high frequency propagation. You know, they have information that going back 200 years on the sunspot cycle, we didn't have radios 200 years ago, but they know that around 1958 they had the best conditions that have ever existed. And if you got on the air in those days, you just threw a switch, and 24 hours a day you could work the world. It was, I remember a ham I'm very closely associated with, like 10 meters. And 10 meters was open all the time, and he was running a DX100 AM transmitter at the time, and working the world. It was a very different condition, a very friendly atmosphere amongst DX operators because they were not pressured to get off and work the next guy, you know, before the band fades. I don't have your first name. My name is Ed. As I said, I'm in Long Island. I'm at Smithtown, Long Island, 50 miles east of New York City. I'm running 300 watts here and using a vertical delta loop antenna close to the ground. Now, about your SDR receivers, or the SDR, I've worked hams who have SDR receivers in their shack. These receivers are receiving. Well, you have a receiver in Rochester. You're getting a signal from Rochester. Do you have a receiver up there in Rochester that you're picking up on? That's sending you its audio by internet. Is that what's going on?
Yes, sir. There are SDR receivers all over the world. There's, thousands and thousands of SDR receivers all around the world. I'm mainly interested, I usually just am working the East Coast, so I'm just interested in the SDRs around the East Coast, and I have specifically chosen Atlanta, Georgia location. There's an SDR location there that sends me a signal on the internet. It's an internet SDR location that I can go to that and dial the frequency 7188, and it'll start giving me its receiver output down the internet line. And I have 4 SDR receivers that I'm running that are connected to these remote SDR receivers. So the idea is that I can get maybe closer to my 100-watt friends by getting an SDR in their location. Roger.
SDR in their location. Roger. Who positions and who owns these receivers?
Oh, they're all owned by local folks, local hams. They do it as a service. There's no charge. By and large, there's no charge. And they are just great amateur radio operators, Roger, that want to further the science of ham radio.
Further the science of ham radio. Well, I realized, I knew right away there would be no charge. I thought maybe there's an organization, an amateur organization that positions them. I have another question for you. Now, if in order for you to hear them best, you listen to the SDR receiver, how do they hear you? Are they, you're transmitting with your antenna? Are they listening to it directly, or are they using SDR receivers to listen to you? Over.
No, they're listening to me on the air. I'm transmitting to them direct. We have a very specially designed dipole antenna that primarily works the East Coast from Montreal to Miami, with a hotspot in North Carolina, and we're usually doing about 20 over, so it's not a problem for them to hear me. It's me being able to hear them. I'm running 2,000 watts PEP, and so I usually don't have a problem being heard. Roger?
Usually don't have a problem being heard, Roger. Well, now you're talking amplifiers, and that's getting closer to my backyard. What are you using for 2,000 watts PEP? And I thought 1,500 was the limit.
That's DCN. I'm talking PEP radiation. This is a Heathkit SB220, sir.
Heathkit SB220, sir. SB220, is that running 572Bs?
No.
No. Are you running tubes, solid state? What kind of final you got in there?
They're just, tubes, and just SB220 runs 3 of 500Zs, Roger.
He runs 3 of 500Zs, Roger. Oh, well, 3 500Zs. I was once in a plant where they were making 500Zs. Oh, beautiful tube. They were annealing them using RF to shut them down when they got the vacuum out.
Roger. Well, these are truly amazing tubes. I'm running these for the last 3 years at less than 50-50 duty cycles, so they are hanging in there, you know, and so we are very, very proud of that. Our Elmer set it up for us specifically because he knew that we wanted to wring the last watt of RF out of there, and that's what we're doing. That's why we're 20 over from Montreal to Miami, Roger.
That's why we're 20 over from Montreal to Miami, Roger. Well, I don't know what your key down current is there, or your PEP current, or your 2,000 watts output. If you got 3 of those things running at that kind of power, those things will probably last longer than you will.
Well, the whole idea, I think, you know, there's a lot of strange folks. I ran across on YouTube a guy that was rebuilding his Radio Shack, and he starts off with his power amp right in the middle of his radio table, countersunk with a shelf across the top of his power amp, and it's back up underneath this thing. And I'm thinking, you know, if you happen to think about it, would you put a 1,000-watt spotlight up underneath something with a shelf over the top of it where it can't breathe? Of course not. Of course not. That's stupid. You want that power amp to be able to breathe. And on my power amp, it's on a 4-foot pedestal. There's nothing around it, nothing beside it. The only thing is an exhaust blower at the top of it, blowing out just above the tubes. But there's, you know, the whole idea of a power amp is for it to be able to breathe.
The idea of a power amp is for it to be able to breathe. Well, that sounds very good. I knew a ham once running a 4-1000, and he was pumping cold air into the shack with about 1.5 to 2-inch flexible hose with a squirrel cage motor outside the building, pumping cold air into the thing to run it cool. So you're obviously on the right track. I would like you to explain to me about the 2,000 watts PEP. I've never run that kind of power. I have I think 600 watts out of this thing. I run it at 300 watts, and I had home brew amps. I ran them a little harder, but I thought, so I'm not aware of what the upper limits are. I go back to when we had to measure key down current at 1 kilowatt in as a maximum. Nobody owned a power output meter. They were too expensive. So I'm not aware. I thought 1,500 was the top you're allowed out on peak envelope power. So clue me in.
No, that's DC in to the final. Heathkit SB220 is rated by the manufacturer at 100 watts of drive to irradiate 2 kW PEP. That is, the SB220 with 100 watts of drive delivers 2,000 watts PEP, which is 100 is a kilowatt RMS, or thereabouts. So, you know, and a lot of folks run their amps at 30 watts or 36 watts, 47 watts. I'm running this amp as stated by the manufacturer, 100 watts into the SB220, 1 kW RMS out, 2 kW PEP, Roger?
Out 2 kW PEP, Roger. I think I think even just one 3-500 will get you a kilowatt, won't it?
Well, not for long.
Well, not for long.
Anyway, we've been running in this configuration for about 3 years now, and have no problems. In regards to that, we have had some issues that we've had to deal with along the way, but nothing major, Roger.
Nothing major, Roger. We were doubling there. I don't know where you are. They got 4 different receiving locations. Where are you actually located physically?
We are located near Louisville, Kentucky. We're just across the river in Indiana from Louisville, Kentucky. I can see downtown Louisville from where I am.
Kentucky. I can see downtown Louisville from where I am. Okay, so you're in Louisville, but you're receiving signal. That's really great. You got 4 different locations. And then, of course, you can turn on your receiver and you have 5 locations, right?
Roger, and they all appear on a 5-6 position rotary switch. So when I'm looking for somebody, a better signal from somebody, all I'm doing is rolling through this 6 position rotary switch and listening for the audio, and it takes about maybe a second and a half to go through to find the hottest location. I'm not looking at meters or anything. I'm just listening to the incoming audio, Roger.
I'm just listening to the incoming audio, Roger. Okay. Well, which location are you listening to my signal from?
I'm copying you right now on the Arlington, Virginia SDR, Roger.
Now on the Arlington, Virginia SDR, Roger. Okay. That sounds reasonable. The antenna description of the antenna up to the league, to the guy who, I think it's W6, W1, I forget his call, W1FX, I forget, wrote the definitive articles on loop antennas. And this loop antenna is a little different than most, because it's got a radio system in it. So he took an interest in it, and he made me a series of 9 computer plots to show how it would do on each of several bands, and with or without the radio system. And when I took them, he had a lot of additional data attached to it that I could not interpret. So I took it to some more knowledgeable hands at the local radio club, and their opinion is I'm running a cloud burner here. So Arlington, Virginia is like 200 miles out of here. I think it's 240 miles by road. So it's something less than that by straight. We have a big sailor, right? The straight line, as the crow flies, there, that's the expression I want. Fucking 240 miles maybe. So it's no doubt that what you would be listening to would be your Arlington, Virginia receiver. Although I assure you, I have worked Louisville without switch to your Louisville. Can you switch to your Louisville receiver and tell me what you hear? This is K2OHK.
Sure. I just was through my local receiver. The breakdown is my local receiver is copying you at about 5 dB above my noise level. The Arlington, Virginia SDR is copying you at about 12 dB above their local noise level, and Rochester, New York is copying you at about 10 dB above their noise level. Roger?
10 dB above their noise level. Roger? Rochester was what? Give me the Rochester again.
10 dB over their noise level, their local noise level.
10 dB over their noise level, their local noise level. Yeah, that's what you might expect from this antenna. It's very interesting. And sounds you've gone to a lot of effort, but I think that you got something very nice. And I have worked who was using the system. I was wondering why you were using the system. I was wondering why you were slow coming back each time. You're picking the correct antenna, and takes you time to get that to respond to. I assume if you're working Vox, it would be instant. If you're working push to talk, you can throw the switch. But you're slow to respond, and I guess because you're selecting with the antenna that the station that the receiver, that's the word I'm looking for, that would be best suited. I think the next thing to be developed probably would be something, a computer that would select the best signal for you. Over.
Roger, the delay is not on my part. There is a latency involved in the internet transmission from the SDR site to my location. There is an inborn electronic latency. Some SDRs are longer latency than others, but I respond immediately when I hear the end of the sentence. I'm responding immediately, but the difference in delay is caused by the transmission latency of the internet signal from the SDR location to my location. Roger?
From the SDR location to my location. Roger? Roger. I belong to a net, and have belonged to the same net for many, many years. And we have a couple of net control stations who use an SDR to copy signals when the SDR receiver to copy signals from the net members when conditions are difficult. So that's the only experience I have in talking to operators using SDR receivers for that purpose. What I don't understand, I have to ask them, I don't understand if the SDR is located right in the same shack with the local receiver. What is the benefit as compared to you who have your receivers located at distant locations? It's all been very interesting to me. You are the first ham I have met who was using this system to receive my signal. It means that more guys will hear me, and maybe I'll make more contacts with you. I want to thank you very much. You gave me your name. I did not write it down. I have to shut the station down now. The X-Y afternoon, and I have to be on my way. Thank you for, I have to be on my way. Thank you for explaining all this to me. It's been very interesting. I do thank you very much. KC9VK, King Victor, near Louisville. This is K2OHK on Long Island.
Roger Ed. Well, we have been recording all this time, so if you would like to hear our conversation or hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. Right now we're running about 840 Airchecks, Qsos on various pages, but you'll be looking for one Qso in particular, and it will be called My Group Aircheck 12619. My Group Aircheck 12619. Today's date, Roger.
6/19. Today's date, Roger. QSO. And of course, it will depend on the speakers in my computer as to how well it sounds. I have heard my signal before any number of times, but I'll check it out because this will be I will be listening to this in a different manner than ever before, and from a signal source that is different than ever before. Good afternoon to you, and thank you very much. It's been most interesting. Always learn about new stuff at amateur radio. But I do have to say to you, where over there is my old DX35. If you know what one of them things is. This is K2OHK.
Roger, it's probably driving a 10,000 watt amplifier somewhere.
Driving a 10,000 watt amplifier somewhere.
And I'm making light, Ed, a joke. LOL. Threes, buddy. Enjoyed it. You have a real good weekend coming up. And if you get a chance to check in next Friday, we run between 3:30 and 5 Eastern. Every Friday afternoon on 7188, this frequency. And speaking of frequency, I noticed that your transmission might have been just ever so slightly low. I didn't know whether you might have had your clarifier on slightly or what, but it was very, 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 very minuscule frequency on the low side slightly, but you might check that out. Three, sir, and we enjoyed it. KC9VKV, you have a great weekend. And this is, we have been into a pumpkin for 15 minutes. We turn into a pumpkin after 5 o'clock. It is now 5:15, so we've been 15 minutes of pumpkin, and who would have thought? But so we got to get out of here, so we'll say threes to all who participated. We enjoyed it very much, and hopefully everybody can come back next Friday, and we'll do it again between 3:30 and 5. Until then, this is KC9VKV, threes all, and we'll be clear.
KV, threes all, and we'll be clear.
Hey, Jim, have a good night. You're working overtime, eh? Hope you're getting paid. VA3, VMD. Have a great weekend.
Roger, threes up in Canada, is that right?
Roger, threes up in Canada, is that right?
In Clarksville, Indiana. Just I figured you were running late tonight, buddy. You're getting later and later every week, Roger.
Canada, I've got local traffic. Three's that way, sir. You have a great weekend. Thanks for the shout. And who was that in Clarksville? Hello? Who's that in Clarksville?
No, that was me, Jim. That was me saying, make sure you say hi to Terrence in Clarksville for me.
Oh, who is this?
It's Vito, VA3VMD. Vito up in Toronto.
Vito, you sound like a local. I thought you were about 13 miles away or less.
No, Jim, I'm the one shooting the comments at you about every week you get later and later, man. You're over turning into a pumpkin. I think you're already rolling down the road, Roger.
Roger, and you're running 50,000 watts up there too.
No, we're pushing about 615 watts, Jim, on the 7300. Over.
Oh, Roger, well, sounds beautiful. Sounds absolutely beautiful. Like I say, I thought you were in Clarksville, Indiana. I thought you were local.
Okay, well, listen, we won't hold you back. We just wanted to say good evening. I've been listening for the last 10 or 15 minutes, but I check in here enough. You've recorded me enough time, so I just wanted to say have a great weekend, buddy, and we'll catch you next Friday.
Roger. Did you copy Ed pretty well up in New York, in Long Island?
Yeah, the last station you were working, I didn't have a great copy on him, but I did hear him, and I agree with you. I think it was about 50 cycles off frequency.
It was really small. It was so small. I kick myself every time I say something, but I feel like I need to say something when, I hear something.
You know what, Jim? I'm absolutely the same way, too. And, I make sure I make it clear, I know this is, you don't have to be right on, but I want to let you know that I'm transmitting at 7.188.00, just so you know, where are you? But, no, once you have an ear for audio and an ear for sound, you know right away when it's, slightly tweaked off. He was about 50 cycles off.
Right. It just is kind of a drag kind of thing when they're low and a chipmunky thing when they're high.
Yeah, you got that. Sometimes I just turn the RIT on and I bump it up a bit because, I just don't want to go there. But no, most of the times I'll mention it to somebody because sometimes people want to know, right? So, anyway, Jim, listen, have a great weekend, man. You're booming in here tonight. You're almost 15 dB, if not over. So I just want to jump in and say hello from, Unionville, just north of Toronto, and have a great weekend, buddy.
Roger, thank you so much, sir. We're supposed to be 20 over from Montreal to Miami and New York to New Mexico, and I understand that the New Mexico part has not been verified yet, but we have verified fairly well the Montreal to Miami part. So 3's up that way, man. Good to hear you, and like I say, I thought you were local. So have a great weekend, and we got to get out of here now. We are 20 minutes into a pumpkin. Catch you later. KC9VKV is gone.
VA3 VMD QRT, lost over 20 dB over S9, 73.
Thank you. Who Tango? Barely got you, sir. Where are you?
Yonkers, New York. The name is Paul. Papa Alpha Uniform Lima.
Roger, Paul. Well, you're making the trip. You're probably about 3 dB over my noise level.
You're 20 over 9 here in Yonkers, New York. No problem on a copy at all.
Roger, Roger. 3, sir. You have a great weekend. We'll catch you later. Join us earlier. We're on the air between 3:30 and 5 Eastern, Friday afternoons on this frequency. Roger?
Roger on that. Can you give me a call? I didn't quite get it.
Call here is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor KC9VKV. Name is Jim, and we're running the Qso-Vlog network. Our location is just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky.
Roger on that. Well, it's doing a good job for you. You're doing great. Your equipment is working great. I'm using a random wire about 15 feet off the ground, 65 feet across the yard. 15 feet off the ground, 65 feet across the yard, and I'm only running 100 watts out of my TS590 Sugar Golf.
Roger, Roger. I just moved over from Arlington to the Rochester SDR, and you're about 12 over on the Rochester SDR. Roger?
You're about 12 over on the Rochester SDR. Roger?
Roger on that. All right, we'll take 73s. All the best. If I don't catch you before the holidays, do have a good holiday season. A happy and healthy New Year.
All right, give me your call sign slowly, phonetically, please.
Give me your call sign slowly, phonetically, please.
Alpha Charlie 2 Tango. America, Canada 2 Tango.
Charlie 2 Tango America Charlie. Is that a Roger?
Charlie 2 Tango America Charlie. Is that a Roger?
America, Canada 2 Tango. AC 2T.
AC 2T. Roger?
AC 2T. Roger?
Roger, Roger.
Okay, what's the name?
Okay, what's the name?
The name is Paul, Papa Alpha Uniform Lima.
Roger, Paul. What radio are you running, sir?
Roger, Paul. What radio are you running, sir?
I'm running a TS590 Sugar Golf.
Okay, Paul. We have been recording since 3:30, and we have got you recorded right at the tail end of our Qso-Vlog network. So if you go to YouTube in the next couple of days and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll be looking for an entity entitled My Group Aircheck 12/6/19. My Group Aircheck, today's date 12/6/19. Roger?
My Group Aircheck, today's date 12/6/19. Roger?
Roger, Roger. Okay, 73s. All take care. All the best to you and yours.
Roger, Roger, Paul. 3's that way, sir. And now we are 22 minutes into a pumpkin. We're out of here. This is KC9VKV Clear.
We're out of here. This is KC9VKV Clear.